We are now joined by Dr. Benjamin Neale. Dr. Neale, thank you so much for your time here in the studio today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So first, can you tell us how genetics and genomics became central to tackling this unprecedented global pandemic?
We compare people that have reported a positive COVID test against the general population, as well as looking at people that ended up in hospital or in ICUs, or in some instances, individuals that have no symptoms of just a positive COVID test. In all of these analyses, we do find, subtle but very reliable genetic associations. They point to interesting regions of the genome that are relevant to a variety of outcomes and biological processes, including the OAS gene cluster, which is involved in innate viral immunity, as well as genes and variants that have been previously implicated in lung diseases like idiopathic pulmonary fibroids and interstitial lung disease.
The pandemic has ushered in an era of genomic surveillance. Why is genome sequencing and surveillance important?
The virus is also a biological entity. Its, genome made of RNA does collect mutations, and we can use those mutations to track where the virus is and also whether or not the virus might be slightly more lethal or potentially more infectious. And that genomic surveillance, that ability to see not only whether or not someone has an infection, but what variation the virus is carrying and where that infection likely came from, is transformative with respect to our ability to engage in public health, in tracking. But it is also getting used in things like vaccine design as part of the very long pipeline to develop that next generation of vaccines to deal with COVID itself. And that's only possible with these kinds of tools in genomics that are, still relatively young in the context of biological sciences and our ability to understand the world around us.
What is the focus for genetics and genomics going forward to ensure that we maintain a solid foundation for responding to COVID-19 and future national health crises?
It only reinforces in me the sense that we do need to continue this commitment to working together, and that, the mechanisms of open science and sharing and collaboration are powerful tools in our quest to understand why people get sick and how to potentially help them deal with their illnesses or prevent infections like COVID. And I also think it underscores the challenges that we have moving from genetic discovery into biological insights. The work of the human genetics community in the coming decades needs to address this problem. How do we decode the biological consequences of genetic variation is a central problem for us, and I think the experiences with COVID have underscored how valuable those kinds of insights really could be, not only in addressing COVID, but in addressing every human disease.
Dr. Neale, thank you again for joining us today, and best of luck with the future.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for the opportunity to share the science.